So I don't think I showed the car really that much. So let's just sit in this thing. I got engine and transmission in it. Yeah, look how nice this dash is. What is there? 47,000? I bet that's not 147,000. That's actually 47,000. Now this shifter, I'm not a huge fan of these mega ratcheting shifters, but we'll see how it goes, right? See how it works. Oh, there's the front coilovers, front and back, adjustment spoons, sway bar boys. This was the center console for sure that they nicked down. Perfect. I hooked up a battery that I had, a spare. So let's see if the wipers or something. Ooh, they're a little lazy, maybe. The battery might also be like 2 volts. Which headlights aren't hooked up. Let's. The blower is really weak, so yeah, the battery sucks. But that's fine. So I'm gonna start doing some wiring, and right on cue, we got crickets, and it has power windows. Yeah, the battery is totally wasted. So I got the transmission in. We can say hi to Mr. Cricket. Arnie's got his antennas here. Take a look at this trunk. Well, the trunk light's like 2 volts. Uh, they have a nice battery thing in here. The drive shaft, part of the ground effects. Listen to this guy. He's been quiet for hours. I fire up my video camera, and it's like echoing. Drive shaft in here for the 60E. Some front cowling, everything else. I got the battery hooked up, but it's hot garbage, so I got to hook it up to this charger to give it some juice. Other than that, I'm getting the ball rolling. I just put the starter in. I took some pictures. I tightened the torque converter. There were no torque converter bolts directly with the 6-speed, so I took the 4L60 ones. They're the same, and I threaded it right in, and started to button up some stuff and checked my power wires for the starter. Bolted a starter in. The other neat thing, let's pop this guy loose. Show you guys what I was up to. I was just checking out the belt routing. So let's. That's the belt that came with the motor. I just put it on. This is an F-body alt. It's a funny size. So it's very close to a truck one though. So which one is it? This bolt doesn't go in. Doesn't just line up. The case of the alternator hits. So I'm assuming a truck one will fit really nice. The belt fits. I still, you can get a power steering pump for these motors, I believe. All these trucks and newer fangled goodies have electric steering. Like I said, I'd like to do a Corolla column if I can fit that in for now. Maybe just no power steering. I would really like to do the electric steering. That would be awesome. That's for the starter and the alternator. They got a little Blue Sea bus bar, one of my favorites. That'll be easy to do. I guess we'll see how the starter does. There's the fuel line. It has a Corvette filter. I really despise those, but that's what it has, and it should be fine for 300 horsepower. If it isn't, it'll go. But what's nice is it has the fitting that matches that. I'll have fuel, and that stuff will go by lightning quick once the sensors all get plugged in. I'm kind of apprehensive, funny enough to say, hook up the Holly to this because I've never plugged in all the sensors to one of these guys. The other thing I should probably do is dunk a bunch of oil in the corner there and here so I don't forget it. Probably should just put tape all over the oil fill, but I've never done that. I'm surprisingly, of all the things I forget, and I'm stupid, I never forget to put oil in the motors. So it'd be nice to get the wiring done, check some sensors, do the drive-by-wire. I got a bunch of drive-by-wire pedals I want to test. A Canadian guy sent me anyway. That'll be our test. So little things like I'm going to trade my Collis truck parts junkyard guy this alternator. The other thing is the 6L80. Holly sent me This is the stock gasket for the cooler. They sent me this, and there must be a new or a late model. This one doesn't fit. It's really small. I need a larger one, so I'm going to see if they'll exchange me or what. So that's next on the list, because this has a tranny cooler and the hoses ran. I just need that adapter, and then that's done. And then like I said, I'm pretty sure I broke a spark plug. Maybe we'll get new plugs. I got to order a drive shaft. This is a car trans, so it has the rubber grommet hands. It doesn't have a slip yoke. The trucks have a slip yoke because it's a solid rear axle, and it needs to be able to travel. But you can get all sorts of conglomerate drive shafts, as you might imagine. So what I'd like to do is get one that's, if you look up a Coyote Mustang, it has a flange on the front, it has a slider in the back, and it has U-joints. I'd like to order something similar. If you guys have suggestions for a drive shaft shop, I know there's the drive shaft shop, and that's what, annoyingly, they picked it a perfect name, so it comes up every time you search for drive shaft shops. Anyway, I might just order it from them. I'll take a look. Between $600-900, it seems like the flanged slider appropriate drive shaft for something like this, high-speed racer. So that's where we are. I'm about to bust out the Holly box and lay everything out and figure out a game plan and start connecting things. And I believe I have a fuse panel I'm going to put in the car the way I like to with the AB, figure out where I want to put that, make it easy for them to work on, and it's really like that simple, guys. It already has battery and fuel lines. Get the ignition working on one side of the fuse panel. I'll show you when I do it. Other than that, what a clean peach here. Let me hook up this battery's at 3 volts, so for me to test the systems, we'll get these guys back on there. There she is, 6L80E with room. You can get to the bolts, just not the top ones. Get those from the engine bay. But yeah, it's in. Everything's good. And your guys did a beautiful job on the cross member. It's only slightly off from the 6L81, so probably what I'll do is just get it away from the case. It is, it might hit in some sort of flex here, but it doesn't hit. So a little bit of cutty snippy on this thing, and we're good. I think I'm just going to tack it to the mount so I can just bolt the mounts in. The studs that were in here were really far out, and I'd have to cut everything, so I might just weld the mount to this and move it. And you're good, but you got room. It might not look like a whole lot of room, but man, it's better than you can get to the bolts. It's not flat against anything. Everything's good. Crazy, wild. It's in here. That's it. Engine and tranny. Direct injected L83, 6L80E. Awesome. The only funny thing is, I might have to have my friend take the tranny apart to swap the output shaft to a slip yoke. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is my first time plugging in the LT stuff. I'm going to kick this trans jack out of the way, and pull the intake off, and then I'm going to see if I really like putting the ECU inside the car, as long as it's not really bad situation, because I think on a long or short timeline this may go forced induction, so we're gonna plan accordingly. So this says GDI, so I'm assuming it goes to that big plug. Wideband O2. Do I pull? Now the whole ECU comes out of that grommet. Probably most of the time you go right to the left. You take all the 5-liter garbage can stuff out. I'm going to move this car to the other bay honestly. Need the room. At some point you're just working around the lift and all I'm going to be doing is wiring. Yeah, this is for like the factory computer grommet. Yep, it's just the grommet. That's where they were working with it for sure. So we'll reinstitute that. It should be pretty easy to just shove the 2 bulk Terminator garbage boys in there. GDI. So the GDI harness plugs into that. This goes into, we'll just try to get the bulk of this straight in. Then maybe I should move the car, clean up over there. Move the car. Make it easy for everybody. Well, for myself. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna roll the car back so I'm not like on the lift, can't open the doors. BRB, kids. So, yeah, voltage is swinging around a little bit, but map sensor's reading. Manifold temp isn't plugged in. We got IAC. Coolant temp is reading. It's a little spastic. The voltage is not making it happy. TPS 26. So 26 would be like idle-ish. And then this is, listen, you can hear the throttle probably. This is 2004 to 2012 Malibu and G6 or Aura. Saturn Aura, I think that's what that is. So one of the Canadian throttles is working already, at least with the DI version. So now there's just there is some fuse panels and wiring and stuff in here, but somewhat incomplete. So I'm gonna ask Arnie what he wants me to do. I was gonna put a fresh one in, I think in the video I said, and then I found this, and some of it's giving me trouble, so it's probably half done or back feeding. You know, the car was done and then taken apart and then done and then whatever, so he might have me start fresh, whatever. But drive-by-wire, already functional. ECU, mostly functional. Now it's just a simple thing like putting oil in it to start it. Transmission needs the lines connected and looped at least if we're going to start it, because it's going to spray. I can't tell you how many times I got excited to start something and fired a 4L80E car with nothing attached and just fanned fluid out. That's always fun. But it's cool to see the Malibu pedal working. I want to test the other ones with this car, and then we'll do like a nice documentation for that. It's neat to see all the sensors are working. I got to pick it up in the lift one last time, pull the starter down. Now I can plug in the crank position sensor that's under the starter. That's always a pain to get to. But like I have my wiring and ECUs hashed out. Everything's mostly functional. I just got to figure out, I normally start from scratch for this, but they have ancillary devices here, and I don't want to, he might just have me start over and then they will fix or whatever. So we'll ask him when it's not 4 a.m. and then update. So I got most of my wiring hashed out. I got everything plugged in except for IAT sensor here. Obviously not that important. Want to make sure everything would reach. Want to make sure I wasn't doing anything dumb. My I think this happened last time I started recording. The battery goes low. It flickers. Oh, I think it's about 4 a.m. Car didn't have a battery. Battery I have really sucks. I have it on the battery charger. So what you'll see is the voltage is all over the place. So we're hashing out the wiring in Grandma here. Grandma's bingo girl. I got a Malibu 06 Chevy Malibu 06 to 12. That works with the Terminator. Looking good.